everyone. Because there was a lot of interest in the first part of this video, I have brought you a part 2 of the altered planner junk journal process type video. So the first 2-page spread layout I'm doing here is really all about that paper that's on the right. I have it kind of covered up right now, but it's a beautiful turquoise with gold accents. So I dug through my scrap bin to find turquoise colors in that blue family of color, and I did find this other piece with the gold on it, and that is it's a printable, like a printer paper, and I think for printing out like awards and things, and that I had in my scrap bin. So I've got one strip of it on the left, and I'm trying to find a place for this other little part of it on the right, and I think I settle with that right there. And then I have some neutrals. The grid paper has a turquoise in the line of the grid, or the squares. And then I really liked this hexagonal pattern that was just on the top part. It's like the perforated section that comes off of pattern paper. And so I put that on the top, but there's that hole, that unsightly hole. So I figure out what to do with that in a bit here. And then I have some solid cardstock that I'm cutting down in the turquoise color and just cutting off a strip and then checking visually to see if I like its placement. I trimmed off a tiny another piece there, and then I can put this other scrap of gold paper in between those two. And then again, I'm mirroring that same cardstock up above. So I like to use the same color or the same paper even in a couple places to bring unity to that, bringing in all the colors. And this page is just a really easy one to do for anybody because it's all in the same color family. Just matching the colors, and here's how it looks all put together. And I just love how it goes with the original planner page there. For the second one here, it's all about this beautiful floral design that was on the right. I'm using this scrap of painted brayered off paper to cover up where I tore off the tab, and it matches very well to the kind of purple hue that's in that floral arrangement. So I kind of was thinking about bringing in some of the greens, but then it turns out intuitively I was really liking the white space that's on the right hand side, and so I find myself picking out neutrals that are in kind of a white color palette. So I have this piece of photocopied music paper that one of my kids used, and I did need to tear off some of the darker part on the edge because it just was a little too dark for the palette. And then I have some regular old graph paper, and I had a magazine page that has a little bit of text in it. And so I'm pulling that same magazine page again and trying to figure out how I can put some more of it in there to bring it together. And it also has that lovely branch, which kind of mimics the branches on the right and then the little piece of branch that's sticking out on the top. And I do decide to bring in a little more color with that same scrap of the painted purple piece. And then here I'm thinking about bringing in some more branch, but I decide maybe just a little more color in this painted piece of turquoise that really goes well with the two turquoise flowers in the right-hand floral image. And that finishes off this spread. It's a great neutral palette to go ahead and junk journal, scrapbook on top of in the future, or even just paste down some memories. Could put another piece of paper and journal on top of that. There's all kinds of options, so I'm really just doing backgrounds here. Now, for this spread, I just wanted to cover up the words, and so I glue down this paper here. And here I just thought this was hilarious. It says hey, misspelling of hay. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you, but this is another piece of that same paper. And on the right, I'm giving it a little bit of time to dry, but it kind of needs even more time. This is one of my techniques of just putting the glue on the paper where I wanted to cover the part I wanted to cover up, and then tearing around it. So after it has a little more time to dry, it tears off even better. And I found this scrap in my scrap bin that is very similar to that wood pattern on the right, so I loved it and wanted to bring it in here on the left hand side. And I'm just tearing the edges, and oftentimes I will, you know, put it down and then flip it around, and maybe I like one edge better. I think I like the straight edge on top here because it kind of goes with the straight edge of the paper. And you see here tearing that off once it's dried a little more, it tears off a little better. Now for this next layout, I am using a die, but I'm using it more as a template because I wanted a slightly larger oval, and so if I cut it out as a die it would be a little smaller. Plus I didn't want to get my die cutting machine out, so I just traced around it. And then I'm pulling this doily out and I'm going to add a little glue to the top corners and then just tear it off. That way one doily works for the whole oval, and it's just peeking out on the top two sides. And that pretty much covers up that sentiment that was in the original page there. It's kind of motivational, something about success, I don't remember. But it wasn't going to work for my junk journal purposes, so I just cover it up. And then to bring in the left side, really I'm just kind of leaving this more as a blank palette with the grid, the month squares, rectangles. I'm leaving them there, but I'm bringing in the same patterned paper at the top and the bottom, and that'll finish that off. So you can go really simple also. So for this layout, I really loved the right hand paper. It's got polka dots and text, if you can notice that. And so for the left hand side, I'm going to bring in a bunch of text, different book pages and things. And they're slightly different hues because they have different, you know, colors of aging. So the bottom one, I believe, is dictionary, and then the top piece that's kind of laying there on the side is like from a spelling book or something. And then again, that hue of that wood paper I liked, and I had used it on the page previous, so I brought in a little scrap here. And then I bring in a little more at the top there. And then I have this coffee dyed polka dot paper. I get the dots from a grill pan, drying it in the oven on a grill pan that's from like the Dollar Tree or something, and it has those holes in it. But I loved that because it brings in the polka dots from the right hand side. So a little bit of text, a little bit of polka dots, and they just go very well together. And on the right here, I'm using a little bit of that dictionary page to cover up the tear from where I tore off the tab earlier. So now to finish off this one, I have another piece of book page with a different shade and different typography as well. And so those are great neutrals, and I like that look personally. So, and I'm using my glue, my foam covered glue bottle to roll down the paper nice and flat, and then putting down the spelling book page there. And I have a little bit of white space after I tore it, so I just add in another piece of that magazine page from earlier, and it also has a little bit of scripted type on there, and that will finish this off. And this is how it looks. And then I think I have one or two more layouts here. They're pretty simple. So for this one, I'm just using, this is a book page from, I think, some sort of play. And I'm not loving the black and white stripes, and you could totally just cover up the circle and leave the black and white, but I didn't really like that look, so I'm just using almost this entire book page to just cover most of that up. And it's just kind of a blank slate for whatever I want to add onto it later, because the book page can be pretty neutral, especially in junk journaling. So then I'm using my ruler to tear the edges, give it a nice rough look there. I didn't even tear all of them. I'm like, okay, I'm good with this. And then I'm going to bring in some more text in some neutral colors on the left-hand side. So here's another scrap of scrapbook type paper that has kind of a scripted text, and then that same book from the same book, that play, and I use the glue on the paper method and then just tear around. So glue on to where I want it to definitely be, and then tear around the edges. Very unpredictable results there. And then that's it. And I just popped in a few still shots here at the end, just of a few of the pages. And I really hope you enjoy this video. Have a wonderful and creative day. Bye!